User Itchy18 submitted to r/Reddit, anti-bucket list. What's something you'll never do again? Alversonge says, bungee jump. As soon as my feet left the edge, all I could think was, well, that was stupid. It was exciting and probably safe enough, but it was enough for me to know I will never willingly do that again. Bonfire Fanatic says, camping by a river that was flooded by melting snow from an area that was 6 hours away and having to be heli-rescued. It was effing embarrassing. Statiop Mojo says, working in academia, left 2 years ago and never looking back. If that noise. DJB 2589 says, any job involving tech support or customer service. I'll starve before I deal with entitled older people who demand the latest technology, but refuse to learn how to actually use their new technology and expect the world to bend over backwards to satisfy their unrealistic demands. Half of them don't think plugging in their TV is a requirement before calling and screaming that this darndest, useless smart TV don't even want to come on, and I've tried everything. My old dumb TV lasted 40 years and never had a problem. Now tell your boss, Mr. Netflix, to send me a new TV and give me a refund. Deep Pure Blart says, talk to my extended family. The Packet says, my ex-girlfriend. Wicked Blight says, I doubt I'll try escargot again. It just tasted like the garlic butter it was drowned in. Not bad, but the juice ain't worth the squeeze. Twitch Delta Blues says, bungee jumping. Neofrofredrim says, get another dog. Close to retirement, so it's time to travel. Doagober says, skydiving. Sure, static line skydiving by climbing out of a moving plane and hanging on a strut then letting go was fine. It was after chute opened and I was swaying from the chute, with nothing to see but the ground, that I started to get really nauseous. Like seasick. I guess the inner ear feeling me swaying did not jibe with what I was seeing. Basically, ground is so far away my brain couldn't see parallax correctly. I still managed to land right on the target on my first try. Then I sat in the field for like 20 minutes before I was sure I wouldn't throw up if I moved. Nobody much mentions seasickness while skydiving, but yuck, it sucks. I also won't surf anymore after nearly drowning, but that's a different story.
Tuxedo Cat Commander says, birthing without an epidural. I had laughing gas instead. Made me high as a kite. I screamed in pain while I was dissociating into space.
Anderson Envy says, drink and drive.
Cautious Flatworm 804 says, waitressing. I was a waitress last summer in a crappy area, and though I luckily had a few good co-workers, the amount of entitled customers annoyed the hell out of me. And not to mention the amount of sexual harassment me and my other female co-workers had to go through. Both customers and most of the male staff were creepy and horrible. I'm unemployed RN, but much happier to be broke than to work in that hellhole. Laugh out loud. Anyways, remember to tip your waiter waitress well. They deserve it.
Forever 3 says, ziplining. It was scary being on the platforms high up. And the ziplining itself was boring. Kind of weird being on ropes and pulleys. And then I got stuck in the middle of the zip line above the rainforest floor, and the worker had to pull his way down the line and rescue me. Bow says, I just binge drank for 5 days and now I've got a horrible hangover. Not doing that again.
P15I says, food challenges. I tried eating a 1 kilogram steak once and almost threw up. That was my first and last food challenge.
Wadeck Anti-Clutch says, experiment with a dude. Tested my sexuality and I didn't like it. Not that there was anything wrong with it, but it just wasn't for me and I didn't like it.
Soid Namiko says, "Have any more children?"
Bidge 6300 says, "Drive to work in the snow. Just not worth it. Company will not pay for damages if you crash or get hit. I work in a supermarket which gets virtually zero business on a snow day anyway. I'll gladly use a sick day where in the past, I'd sleep over ahead of the storm just to avoid having to drive in it in the morning." Passon 123 says, "Get drunk on cheap champagne."
Lucky 210 says, "Never go to San Francisco or LA. I always imagine these places to be beautiful and progressive, with quirky cool vibes. In reality they are disgusting, filthy, cesspools of inequality, drugs, homelessness, and apathy by NIMBY faux progressives who would rather put spikes and rocks on the sidewalks than construct one affordable house that might lower their property values." Herc Armstrong says, "Move to be closer to my family. I saw them just as much when I lived across the country. They put in zero effort. So I moved back. They can come visit me, or they can burn in hell."
Bucketlist 074 says, "Keep putting everyone else's needs over my own."
Humongous Schlong says, "Playing video games for too long. Was big into Vidya and still am, just not as big. If you do it too much it clouds your mind and takes away from real life experiences. Don't get me wrong, I still love playing, but I do it differently now."
Agonist 28 says, "Drink so much that I throw up. Experienced it for the first time this past year and it really isn't worth it. I can feel altered and relaxed with 3 drinks in a couple hours and still be fine the next day. Compared to having just a few drinks, I didn't feel that much different after 12, and that concerns me. I'm sure I looked sloppy as all hell, but I didn't feel it. Then all of a sudden my stomach pressed the big red button. I really don't see the appeal of getting wrecked and then going through hell for half a day with such diminishing returns. I can't even imagine how much it would take or what it would be like to actually black out. Never have. Never will. Not after knowing it takes that much just to throw up and knowing how shocking that hangover was."
Sudochiniast says, "Long-distance driving to a holiday destination. We drove from Tour France to Barcelona for a few days break and spent those few days exhausted from the drive, and also the thought of the drive back was exhausting to think about. Never again."
Ilikelam is 678 says, "Wisdom tooth removal. Long story short, they did not bother me at all, but the dentist said I should get it done before they became a bother. I did. There were complications, infection of the wounds, antrum perforation, infection my sinuses, and the aftercare was abysmal. I was given medication I had an unusual reaction to, and ended up vomiting my eyeballs out for 4 days with them insisting I just needed to eat. I couldn't even keep the meds themselves down with a little water. My GP saved my ass from ending up on the ICU from dehydration and infections growing unchecked. The surgeon was a massive butthole at all but told me I was making a big thing out of nothing. Meanwhile my head was the size of a basketball and pus was literally oozing from my nose as a result of an operation on my jaw. Here is the thing. Pain medication doesn't work if you can't keep them down. If you cannot eat, drink, or sleep, your body has a very hard time healing itself. It took over a year before my skull felt normal again. And now, 4 years later, whenever I have a cold, it aggravates the scar tissue and it feels like a vacuum spontaneously developed somewhere deep in my sinuses. It hurts my remaining teeth to a point I went to the dentist to get a photo made to see what's up."
Thank you guys so very much for watching through the end of this video. If you would like to, please do remember to like, subscribe, hit the bell, comment and at last, don't forget to spread it. Also, If we manage to hit 50 subscribers before the month of April, I will do a surprise giveaway for you guys worth $300. If you would like to have a chance at winning, just subscribe, hit the bell, comment, and at last, don't forget to spread it. That's all for today. See you guys again tomorrow.